Today we'll be taking a look at the vain and insecure AI created by Avon Hertz, aka Clifford. We'll recap the story of it, and I'll do my best to kind of speculate on what happened to it after the last time we saw it in game. But before we start, I want to say that this video was suggested by one of you guys in the comments of my last video. So yeah, thank you so much for the suggestion, and let's get on with it. So Clifford was made by Avon Hertz, who on a side note is likely a parody of Elon Musk, and at an unknown point, Avon Hertz planned to use Clifford to infiltrate the defense grid of the state of San Andreas, but not before Avon and Clifford cloned an enormous amount of soldiers, some of which were robot-like juggernauts even. I fucking hate those things. Fast forward to the year of 2017, and Avon Hertz contacted Lester and said that Clifford found out that there was someone trying to start a war with the US. However, this data was stolen, and Lester then calls the GT Online protagonist, who then purchases a facility as a base of operations for their work for Avon, in which the three later meet. Avon then sends the protagonist on a series of missions to get the information, which then Avon would use Clifford to analyze. Clifford then claims that someone will try to attack one of the IA facilities, and Avon sends the player to get rid of whoever it is attacking it. After successfully wiping out dozens of mercenaries, Agent 14 and Agent Recommend show up, and pretty much everyone concludes that the attack was set up by a supposed Russian war criminal named Bogdan. This leads to us as the player having to get into this guy's submarine and upload the data to Clifford. However, it turns out that Bogdan was for all this time trying to simply stop Clifford, who he viewed as a threat that had to be stopped before it was too late. This is where the duo revealed their true intentions, and simply put, Avon tricked us and used us to get him the data that he then used to hack into the state's defense grid. And as a final nail in the coffin for us, he set the submarine that the player is in to self-destruct, which the player escapes just before it explodes. The next part of their plan consisted of their robot mercenaries or whatever they are to kidnap Agent 14, who they would sell to Merryweather Security. On a side note, if you want me to make a video about Merryweather Security, please go ahead and drop it in the comments and I'll do my best to make that video if you guys are interested, of course. Later on, Agent 14 is saved by the player, and Clifford then tries to take Sandy Shores Airfield for itself, all while the mercenaries create a tank, and in addition, Clifford and Avon also try to acquire a barrage, but we manage to take it and use it to destroy some of their vehicles at the Sandy Shores Airfield, but not before taking that monstrosity of a tank for ourselves, of course. Not long after this, the player attacks a missile base in Mount Chiliad, where Clifford, who is beyond nuts at this point, tries to launch a missile at an unspecified country, which would essentially lead to an all-out world war that who knows how it would end. As the player makes their way through the base, we start destroying every single trace of Clifford that we can. Firstly, destroying some pieces of code that is being stored in some boxes. And now on screen you can see my favorite scene that not only confirms how insecure the AI is, but it also is fucking hilarious because of how Lester tricks Clifford to open the door for us, and the cherry on top definitely has to be one of the players throwing Clifford the finger. But as we keep progressing through the base, Clifford becomes even more and more unhinged, and at one point says pretty much, "Fuck you, Avon, I'm your boss now," and even orders Avon to call him sir, which is funny and sad at the same time, depends on how you look at it. But finally, we use an orbital cannon to destroy some trucks that are driving Clifford's code around the state, and Avon tries to flee on a jetpack, but is quickly killed by the player. However, before Avon escaped, he had a drive with Clifford's code around his neck, which after his death was taken by the FIB. If you're enjoying this video right now, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave your thoughts on this topic in the comments down below, of course, and also feel free to check out my channel memberships if you want to support the channel in another way. 5 years later, in 2022, the code somehow made it into the hands of the Duggan crime family, and then they started using Clifford to raise the gas prices. However, Agent ULP, who works for the IAA, quickly realizes this, and the player then has to stop a deal between the Duggans and the FIB, and the leader of the Duggan crime family is killed in the process, with Clifford this time falling into the hands of the IAA. But where's Clifford now, and will we ever see the AI again? Well, as far as we know, it's been in possession of the IAA for the last 3 years, and we know that the IAA is not not above doing acts of terrorism to increase their funding, so who knows, maybe they will at some point try to use Clifford for their own benefit. Although from an out-of-universe perspective, I kinda doubt that, as I feel like it's appeared many times in GT Online already, but like I said, it's still in the hands of the IAA. Who knows what they could be planning with it, but as of right now in 2025, while it most likely is in their hands, if I was to make a guess, I do doubt that Clifford will return, but you never know with Rockstar, am I right? And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this GT Online lore video. Please do drop your thoughts and opinions on this topic in the comments down below. I of course always enjoy reading and replying to all of your guys' comments. Until the next video stream, bye bye.